Lige, Brady. Hi, I'm in late, but I'm here. I'm like the closer for this show.
You are.
You are.
We're going to look ahead to next week because
You don't have anything on your ear, do you? I know that was an issue.
just
last
just
night.
my ear.
Padres and
Met shot.
so make sure there's nothing on there.
Yeah, check it, make sure I'm all right. I'm clean. Let's go up to next week. There's some good games next week, but the Thursday nighter, what's going on here?
What do
We
you
got
mean?
the Commanders at the Bears.
It's your team, the Bears.
If I'm Al Michaels, I'm calling in sick for this. I don't know if I'm calling.
After last week?
Yeah, he might.
It
It can't get worse.
It could be much worse than the Colts and Broncos, right?
Worse.
It could.
Well,
I don't think it'll get worse.
It's such a contrast of styles, right? Like the one thing I think for the Commanders, at least if you look at Carson Wentz, they are throwing the football down the field decently well. Not much of a run game though. Brian Robinson, just got back, so we'll see what that looks like versus the Bears defense. And then the Bears have a hard time throwing the football, but Fields is probably coming off one of his best performances last week. Maybe there's some momentum there. This one, though, I think we know that points are not going to come as a premium. So 39.5 right now is the over/under. 38.5, it's already gone down. Yeah. I would still bet under that.
Bet the under?
Two teams. Yeah, that's the one thing I can assuredly say this early in the week. It should be a low-scoring game. Unless this thing gets down below 37.5, then I'm a little bit weary of it. But at that number, I feel good betting the under.
I'll say both quarterbacks probably coming off their best game this season. I mean, Carson Wentz threw for over 350 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dwamie Brown, hadn't played and went up top for 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving. Justin Fields, Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator. Thank you for allowing Justin Fields to finally throw the football. And it paid dividends last week. Now, he did a good job of play calling. Velcius Jones hits him on a quick, speed sweep that becomes a touchdown pass for quarterbacks. I know you guys like that. Goes into the touchdown pass column. And then he was 12 or 13 for 135 yards in the second half, playing really well. And he would have had better numbers if Dante Pettis doesn't drop 2 passes. So he finally looks like he was comfortable in that pocket. I know the offensive line has shifted around. It seems like they did a really good job last week blocking against the Minnesota Vikings. To Brady's point, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Again, short week. The playbook isn't going to be as wide. You don't have as much time to come up with a scheme. I think you take the under in this game as well, under 38.5.
God, this game's going to be ugly. It really is. It's just going to be gross. I kind of like Washington a little bit better just from where they are, a little bit more production on the offensive side of the ball, but I do think the development or lack thereof of Justin Fields has got to be frustrating to watch. And Justin Fields has handled it as good as you could ask. For somebody, I'm worried about his long-term future being damaged by the surroundings around him. But in this game, I'd probably lean toward Washington.
I think to your point, if you need to be able to make a play in the final moments, right, you probably bet on Washington's passing attack over if Chicago's in that position. I think at a pick 'em right now, I lean more towards Washington in that case too, just for that sheer reason.
That kicks off the week. I promise some better games are coming your way on Sunday, and that includes a game on CBS, last year's maybe the greatest playoff game we've seen in recent memory, Bills, Chiefs, and right now the Bills are slight favorites.
Yeah, and obviously we don't know what's going to happen yet. There's a Monday Night Football game that needs to be played, so injuries could occur. That's something to keep an eye on, I think, for the Chiefs. But for the Bills, coming off a dominant win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're really operating on all cylinders right now. So I can't wait to see how this one's going to play out, only because of the backstory from last year in the playoffs. I just want to see who has the ball last, because that's what I'm betting on. I don't think this thing goes into overtime. I think whoever has the ball last ends up winning the game.
You going to take the over on this, Brady?
You know what? I'm a little worried about
53.5?
because this line looks low to me. Like, I thought this would be around 56, 56.5. Whew. Now I'm thinking, all right, maybe someone knows something. This thing could be a little lower scoring.
Yeah, to your point, we won't know what happens with the Chiefs' injuries. All that play a major factor going into this game. But I guarantee that the Buffalo Bills circled this game. You're supposed to take one game at a time. Trust me, they circled this game because they felt like they left one off the hook in the divisional round last year versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Allen and this offense it's literally ridiculous. Gabe Davis seems like he's back from that ankle injury. 98-yard touchdown pass, another 50-yard one where he took away from Mika Fitzpatrick. And then he throws Steph Diggs in there. How do you guard everybody on this Bills offense? And last week, we saw the Kansas City Chiefs offense, right, more balance. I think that's how they have to come out in this game. They have to run the football. We talked about it earlier in the show. Sometimes they refuse to run the football. Well, they played big boy football last week. It looks like the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line was pissed off. Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, those guys, you have to lay on this defensive line from the Buffalo Bills. I take the over in this game, 53.5, and it's hard to pick because we just don't know who's going to be healthy or not in this game to see who wins.
I'm going to assume everybody's healthy. Chiefs as a home dog Like, come on. Because, talk about circling things. I think Patrick Mahomes has been taking notes of everything that's been said all season long, and everybody's giving Josh Allen the MVP and giving the Buffalo Bills the Super Bowl trophy. And I think he's just like, hey, don't forget about us. And we saw that against Tom Brady on the big stage. He went toe-to-toe with him. The Chiefs is a home dog. I like, especially weather won't be too nasty. I would probably lean the over on this one just because I think we'll get what the NFL wants us to get with these two quarterbacks going toe-to-toe. By the way, how the heck did Minka Fitzpatrick let that ball go? He had the ball in his hands, and Gabe Davis just went,
You know where Gabe Davis went to school, right?
Yeah,
that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do.
He's a nice.
Give me that. I need that. Touchdown.
Don't call us Central Florida. Call us UCF.
Let them know.
I had to tell a few people that. But
Yeah,
winner of this game is going to have the leg up as the number one challenger to the Jets in the AFC, according to Leger. Sunday night football, NFC East showdown, Cowboys and Eagles. At this point, I think you'd assume Cooper Rush is going to get the start, Dak working his way back. They don't have to rush it, but this is the biggest game of the season to this point.
It is the biggest game, and I think it's the one that's going to force Cooper Rush to actually have to put this team on his back to go win a football game. They really haven't asked him to do that thus far. It's been a rushing attack, and honestly, the best thing about the Dallas Cowboys so far has been Micah Parsons. He's been phenomenal. He looks like the defensive player of the year. You go back to last week, he's on the same field with Aaron Donald. Micah Parsons is the guy who stood out. And then the way he opens things up for everyone else, too. So, look, Cooper Rush has been off on a hot start. I don't know versus that Philly front. It's going to be tough to run the football. I think he's going to have to make some throws and make some plays. I think I'm laying the points here with the Eagles. 5.5. I don't think
Early,
that number. I'm just saying early. I like what I'm seeing out of the Eagles.
To your point, right, Micah Parsons, he must have been created in the lab. I play defensive line. When you have a groin injury, it's hard to flip your hips and get skinny and get past and get to the quarterback. This dude had 2 sacks after that groin injury. So if he wasn't healthy and had 2 sacks, I mean, we'll see what it is throughout the week. If the groin could get worse, we'll see if he'll actually be able to play. Do they hold him out? Because again, you don't want that thing to linger, right? You have bigger aspirations.
Maybe the best offensive line in the league.
Well, we'll see if Jordan Mailata can go too, right? Because he missed last week. Also, Kelsey got banged up, did come back in the game, but we'll see how that injury progresses throughout the week. But I think the biggest thing, right, is this Eagles run game. How can this front of Dallas, who's been dominant this year, how do they stand up? Diggy Zua, Tristan Hill, these guys are going to be massive in this game. And the RPO game puts you in such a bind because they do such a good job of holding that fake. Linebackers, they either come too close to the line of scrimmage or they backpedal. When they backpedal, Miles Sanders kills you. When you commit to the run, then he hits you on that quick slant with A.J. Brown. So they put you in such a bind. Now, this Cowboys team has played with the league, and when you do that, it's easy to rush the passer. I don't think they play with the league this game. It's to your point, the Philadelphia Eagles in this run game. We'll see what this D-line truly is about for the Cowboys.
If Dak is healthier, either one of you guys sticking with Cooper Rush?
What do you mean healthy? Like, what is
totally good to go. He's cleared. He is good to play.
I think this line comes down a bit, to be quite honest.
No, but I'm saying if you're Mike
the
McCarthy,
Cowboys,
would you?
yeah.
You go back to Dak, right?
I would, yeah. I mean, look.
Oh, wait a second. I want to see if we get somebody to bite on it because I am blown
That's
away.
That's why I said you said he's clear, but I mean, you could be cleared and not 100% healthy.
I'm saying he is 100%. Dak is good. The doctors say he can go everything you can do. You're sticking with Cooper Rush?
Momentum's a real thing, man.
Oh, man.
I mean, but we played, right? CeeDee Lamb, I think it was interesting when he came out and was like, no, Dak can just rest, because he's got. Now, granted, it was only one game with Dak Prescott, but his numbers have skyrocketed since Cooper Rush has been the quarterback. So my thing is, you ride the
coming
wave.
Back has helped that too. He doesn't have much pressure on him.
I think momentum's a real thing. My thing is, it does call into question if the Cowboys do, for some reason, win this game. Like, I think it is an issue after that. What do you do then?
$89 million against the cap. I believe this year is Dak Prescott's.
But also, he only threw for 108 yards, 103 yards this past weekend.
Yards.
Like, he's very pedestrian.
Yeah.
I mean, we could all go out there and hand off and watch that defense get you scooping scores to give you a 7-0 lead to start the game. And but I'm blown away by how many people are considering it. I just think Dak's the obvious choice, and you go back to him.
Financially, there's no decision.
There's no decision.
But I'm saying, even from a football standpoint, I don't think there's a decision.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay, so if Dak's healthy, he's going to play. Bottom line. Leger says, we'll see. Let's go to Monday Night Football next week. The Broncos, we are putting them to the side as long as we possibly can.
Can they get flexed out of Monday?
Yeah, we're pushing them all the way to the last game of this week against the Chargers in L.A.
This one is as simple as this. The Broncos, they have a hard time scoring. The Chargers, They do not. Right? It's that simple. In all seriousness, though, I just think it's a bad matchup, too. When you look at the Chargers' defensive front, that rush going up against the Denver Broncos offensive line, it's missing Garrett Bowles. They have a hard time protecting Russell Wilson, even when Bowles was there. So it seems like one in which I'd lay the 6.5 points, or excuse me, now it's down to 5.5, so it's been bet down a little bit. But bottom line is, I just think divisional game, you're probably expecting to be close. I don't expect it to be, unless we see a big transformation from Russell Wilson this offense. And let's not forget, he's dealing with a lat injury that he's getting treatment for right now.
Yeah, to me, everybody was talking about the Chargers. What's wrong with the Chargers? Well, when you lose your left tackle, your top receiver isn't playing. You're going to struggle, right? J.C. Jackson missed a few games. Joey Bosa is out. These are perennial Pro Bowlers that aren't playing. You're going to struggle. The Chargers are fine now, right? Corey Lindsey came back, and I think he really solidified that offensive line, even though Rashawn Slater will be out for the rest of the year. The last 2 weeks
played well. The rookies played
well.
well.
Exactly. The last 2 weeks, this team has put up over 30 points per game. To your point, Brady, they're not going to have a problem scoring. Now, if you look at this Denver defense, they played really well throughout the season. Now, against the Raiders, they gave up a ton of rushing yards, but they're also dealing with the injury bug, right? You talked about Garrett Bowles at left tackle is not out. Ronald Darby, the corner, is now out. Justin Simmons is still out at safety. So, I think I'd take, even though it's early, I'm taking the Chargers to cover this one. Until Russell Wilson and that offense can show me anything, I don't have any faith in them at all.
I think this game is all about Nathaniel Hackett's future with the Broncos.
Really?
In 1 year?
This early?
Yes. I mean, look at the debacles that have unfolded. Against Seattle, decided to go for the long field goal. Then in the last game on Thursday night, I absolutely hated his explanation for it because he very calculated, said, we got the go, meaning his game manager, who they had to hire, told him we should go for these 4th down situations. And then he very calculated, said, I wanted to put the ball in the hands of Russell Wilson, because what did he get criticized for at the end of the Seattle game? For not giving it to Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
This fan base, it can turn on you fast. I like Nathaniel Hackett. I hope it works out, but I think there is more pressure on him every week that goes by, and that offense sputters, and the answers coming out of his mouth aren't great.
To your point, George Payton, the general manager, hired Nathaniel Hackett. That was before the change in
Ownership. Yep.
And that could be a big thing as we see with David.
Because they can't move on from Russ yet.
Well, no, and I think that's the bigger question too, is like, if you're Russ, how do you miss that read? Is it PTSD from having a similar concept to the pick you threw in the Super Bowl versus Seattle? Is that what brought you the other way? Is it more comfort throwing to Cortland Sutton in a one-on-one scenario, even though that route's not going to win versus inside leverage? There's a lot of questions you got to ask yourself about what's happening with this offense right now. None of them are good, though.
Yeah.
Too much spice in that sub sandwich of his. Have you guys tried it yet?
Have you? No. You're a big sandwich guy.
I do like
But
spice.
he hasn't had a public sub yet.
I'm not. That's true. I have never had a pub sub.
You get one.
Most of the country doesn't know what that means, but South Floridians, yes. Publix subs is where it's at. All right, guys, thank you so much. Danny Cannell, Lige Douzable, Brady Quinn. Inside the NFL is where it's at. If you want your football, if you want your recaps, they've got it. They do it the best, better than anybody. Exclusively on Paramount Plus. You can watch it on Tuesday nights.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.